How are you? Okay. How are you? You good?
Did I make you nervous?
You make me nervous. You know why? Smart. Smart.
In a minute.
Yes.
Am I too loud?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm pasty.
Jesus.
I'm in my milkmaid dress. This is supposed to capture a man's attention.
I know. Yes. Smith.
Could give a fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said something that I was
wholesome.
like...
You're so wholesome. All right, what did I say that pissed you off? Hold on a second. Why do so many women think they deserve to have their needs met without having to give anything in return? A man can work all day, 20 minutes on her back. Much time.
Rollo, I can't. I can't.
All right. Say what you're going to say.
It's crazy to me, like from the female perspective side of things, we're taught from a young age to like give men sex. Like men, it's a need. They need it. Keep them from cheating on you. You have to give it to them. All this stuff. And then you enter relationships at 18, 19, 20, and the men don't meet your needs. So
what needs are those?
Everything. Duh. I'm insane.
The needs. See, that's the thing is like, one of the things that gets me, and I brought this up a little bit earlier, is like when we're talking about value, like you saw the video probably before you came on, it was like, what do you bring to the table? What value do you bring to the table? Well, the hypothetical for that whole thing with Brian on whatever podcast was you have a guy who meets all your needs, right? He pays for every date. He's got, he's got his shit together. You're basically a woman of leisure, right? What do you bring to the table after that? And of course, none of them say loyalty, nurturing, never enters. I was like, well, I make a good chunk of change too, and I could bring some money. Like value automatically is conflated with like, financial and monetary.
Yeah.
And that's why I was, my point in that whole thing was like, well, that's because really the value that if everything is already met for you, the only value that you have to a guy is sex at that point.
Yeah. And I wanted to explain a couple things because it's like men don't bring anything but a headache to women. It's like an extra weight when we talk about beta males, you know what I mean? It's like, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably need to qualify that because like, if you have a guy who has actually got on top of his game, but and like, 80% of guys are like betas as they did.
I've been like most of the men that I see in relationships, there's like a handful that I'm like, oh, that's probably a nice partner to be with. But like women are saying in the most like indirect way, ooh, my mic keeps going out. Sorry. They keep going in an indirect way about how they can't handle it. They won't say it that way, but like they can't handle taking care of the home and the kids. They're tired. Half the reason why they're like, oh, I'm too tired for sex is because, hey, asshole, can you just step the fuck in? Can you just do something without me having to ask you to do something? And I think they see working in the home is not a job because they themselves do not take care of the home the way that you should if there's a family, like making sure surfaces are cleaned, not spreading infection. Like men just don't do it. And so I think we need house husbands and then they'll get it. Or like men have to live on their own for like a substantial amount of time. People give single dads shit, but they kind of get it,
That's actually a good observation because I have the guys that I have talked to in the past. I mean, there's always going to be qualifiers because there's going to be like women are looking for a guy. Like average women don't want to get with average men, and average men don't clean up surfaces. Average men don't think about doing this kind of shit, right? Is it more so for men or more so for women? I don't know because we're also talking about the average. I'm just talking about the average dude in a Western country, okay? Whether that's here or wherever. So we have to like sort of clarify terms. Who are we?
And the wife I'm talking about is your control freak, bridezilla, narcissistic vibes. Like she'll complain and complain and complain. And I'm always saying, just stop doing the shit. If he's not doing it, stop doing it. Because you just complain about it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
I don't know. What I was going to say is that I think that like when guys get on my ass about like premarital sex or something like that, like, oh, Rollo's endorsing premarital sex. I'm not endorsing or saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying here's the details of it, right? But the fact of the matter is like the woman that you know before you get married is not going to be the same woman that you know after you. When you're living,
plus Rollo exists. Oh my God! Literally, men don't want to change Rollo.
I'm not like okay. So like before you get married, before you get in a relationship, let's just say before you get into some sort of like monogamous relationship, there's a lot more competition anxiety. There's a lot more like actual dread, right? Like I want to get with this guy. Was it a mystery? Used to say like a woman cannot fall in love with a man unless she feels jealousy for that guy. All that jealousy is gone. once you've signed on the dotted line, like you want to talk about
as soon as they're in my vicinity.
Like I was saying before, men are worried about losing half their stuff. No, they're worried about you not wanting to suck their dick after the wedding. That's what they're worried about.
I won't say it though.
They're worried about the sex drying up afterwards. And I went and was meticulous about today's show, so I got stat after stat for this.
Yeah.
The average couple. In fact, where is it?
Tell them our conversation.
Oh, when I asked you like how long it had been since you've had the sex.
No, not that part.
Okay. This is a sexlessness stats right now. Okay. This is
you texted me saying how many marriages do you think are fucking?
Oh yeah. What's the average frequency per month that married couples are having sex? Right. That was one of the questions.
That was the question. I thought that I was like 0, like maybe 1.
Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is it right here. According to the 2019 article, this is the AI overview of this question. Okay. 2019 article, the median number of times married or cohabiting people have sex is 3 times per month.
That's a lot.
You think I was going to say, okay, but it's far less than probably what they were having beforehand, though. However, other studies have found different frequencies. 2017, Archives of Sexual Behavior found that average adult has sex about once a week or 54 times per year. The General Social Survey found that 25% of adults have sex weekly, while 16% have 2 or 3 times per week, and then 19% have sex 2 to 3 times per month. So you can see this. Married couples are more likely, to have sex more often than people who are single, divorced, or widowed. However, some research suggests that frequency of sex is not linked to a happy marriage. For example, a study found that married people who have more sex weekly are no happier than those who have less. So all this bullshit about like, oh, get married and you'll be happier. Chapel Hill OBGYN also says that the healthy sex life is not defined by how often you have sex, but rather by intimacy, which can include good massages or holding hands. No.
I'd rather I'm just thinking I don't know how to put this without being mean, so correct me if it's kind of hardcore. So men have, from my experience with men, it's probably not all men, but I know some other women that agree with me on this because we talk about it pretty frequently, actually. And there's this thing that happens where men, because I date men, will be they almost beg for sex in a way. And if you don't want to do it in that moment, they have an attitude, and we don't talk about the attitude, but they huff and puff. They're assholes. They purposely won't do their share of the work just to sort of flip the power or whatever. But at the end of the day, men want to fuck their girlfriend as if it's a chore, a need to be met for him, even if I don't want to do it. So it feels like EPAR, right? Because if I don't want to do it, but the only way I can keep you from not cheating on me is to do it, and you keep begging for it, I guess I'm gonna do it, but I'm not happy about it. It turns into a chore. And if I ever were to get married, which I don't plan on it, I want to be able to be the first one to rip your clothes off. But at the end of the day, it doesn't happen. I haven't experienced that. And a lot of it comes from men not wanting to take the time to learn how to pleasure a woman. And the thing is, the ego with love is so attached to men's ability to make her come. And after the first few times, they keep asking. Men will keep asking, did you come? Did you come? Did you come? And then when you say no, that poutiness, the same thing when you don't get laid, happens. And women are pleasers, so they're gonna end up faking it. So after a certain amount of time, they're laying there just I really fucked up. But if I was honest, it would have made it worse. And that's how women feel. So if she says she came, just say to her, I know you're lying. And then you can have that conversation and it's not awkward. I'm dead ass. Because it's awkward.
Guys who fuck don't ask that question. Seriously. The
entitlement rule.
I don't think I have ever asked that question. Because I know when she has. But
most men don't.
Exactly. And I understand your frustration too, because the thing is the very act of asking that puts them down that much more. This is why am I with it? Why am I having sex with the guy who doesn't know whether I got off or I didn't get off? Yeah. He doesn't know his way around a woman's body well enough to understand when I'm shaking with a really great orgasm, or I'm just sort of kind of half-assed about it. And I think that's one of the so full disclosure here, I used to be that way. I used to be like, okay, well, we need to have sex 3 times a week. And if we're not having 3 times a week, that means her desire for me is not what it ought to be. And I used to figure it out, okay,
it's normal.
But yeah, well, the thing is this, is I would rather have sex once a week where that woman wants to rip my fucking clothes off and says, fuck me now, like take me like a wild fucking animal, than, okay, I got laundry to do. Are you finished yet? Like that right there. Fuck that. I don't want.
Call it intimacy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Is like whenever you, that's why this goes back to when I was talking about negotiating desire. Like you cannot negotiate desire. This is key to understanding that. So like if you, first of all, I'm quoting Sterling Cooper here, but like to be able to tell whether a woman is having an orgasm or not means that you've been with enough women to understand, you've been rewarded by sex with enough women. You're the guy that other women want to fuck and other guys want to be. If you understand a woman's body better than she does, that right there shows that you're the guy who, that's the highest form of what pre-selection, right? For you to know how your way around a woman's body. Now, what gets me is, and I get this on the show all the time when we're on like Access Vegas or something, like women go, well, you know, most guys don't even know what a clitoris is and blah, blah, blah. They can't find it. They
don't even know where it is.
And I'm just like, who are the guys who are, you know, I'm like, I mean, I'm at, you know, mid 50s right now. Like, it's stupid for me to even like all that pretentious bullshit's out the way. It's like, I know how to get a woman off. Like, it's not fucking rocket science, and you're not special because you never got off with some guy who couldn't figure out what a clitoris is.
You know how you've said that girls are fine dating single dads or whatever because it's cute. He has a kid, shows he can do that. I think it's actually, okay. You know how when you have kids as a man, your testosterone drops? I think in the bedroom, like when men go to touch certain parts, they bring so much force. But dads are more gentle. And I think it's like actually a testosterone.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right about it. You know, okay, I'm gonna get real graphic here for a minute. I've seen these shows and I don't know if what's the girl with the Skrillex haircut and she's like blonde and everything. I can't remember her name, but she's like, she's very, what is it?
D-Antwoord? Die-Antwoord? That girl?
No. It's not, no, she's not a singer. She's actually a sex therapist. She's like, has a podcast.
Oh, I know what, she's the one when you Google, like, where's the clitoris?
Like, Stop the Insanity girl. Like, she's got that kind of like, looked at, I don't even know the name, but so anyways, she was talking about like how guys, like when they go down on a girl and the girl's like saying, oh, she could tell that like, she says something to the effect of like, oh, that's it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Most guys will like increase the intensity, like when they're doing that, but that's not the key to like getting up. It's like keeping it as you know, rhythmically, like in the rhythm that you're in right now. And the thing is like, it's exactly what you're saying. Is like guys, they're automatically go, well, if what I'm doing now is good, if I build it up and I intensify it that much more, then that's gonna get her that much. That does not work like that. Yeah, that's also Sterling Cooper was talking about that too.
I've listened to a lot of his stuff and I'm like, oh, he gets it. Like anytime I hear a man talk about
her, is that what, like I would not be surprised if it was.
Who's that? Susan?
I gotta find. I'll dig it up and I'll send it to you after.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. But I think that when I listen to girls saying, it could be on the show, it could be wherever, but like when women say like, oh, you know, men don't know their way around a woman's body, blah, blah, blah. Or no, I know what it is. Like they'll show an IUD. You know, like what is this? Like guys don't know what a fucking IUD
How many
is.
tampons
Yeah, exactly. I like, oh, it's the holy symbol, or like some witch cult, just to fuck with people. But they think that like guys are like so sexually ignorant that they don't know like the female body parts. It's like these guys have been watching.
And it comes off as entitled. It comes off as entitlement. I know it's not something that my audience likes to hear, but I try to be as honest as I can. It's like you're smug about it. I don't want to fuck somebody that thinks they know what they're doing when they fucking suck. I have to fake it, and I'd rather be in a shower. Like, sex is a lot of work. Like, and I don't think women know that you're supposed to move during sex. Like, I just learned that at 27. I'm embarrassed. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just saying, like, but men don't fucking say anything,
so you're saying you're a pillow princess?
Yes, I was a starfish, for sure.
You're a pillow princess.
Yes, I would just like not do it. That's where I think having one-night stands probably is really useful. I bet you the girls that do one-night stands actually know to do that.
Well, women yeah, that's.
I'm serious.
You understand that, like when there's something to be said about like having same night sex, right? Because there's still like, does this guy know what he's doing? Do I know what I'm doing with him? That kind of stuff. There's still like unfamiliarity. The newness of it might like override that. Yeah. But there's something to be said about like the second time or the third time, right? Yeah. With the same person.
And it
now you're like,
confidence.
okay, I fucking get it, right? The other thing is,
girls.
I wanted to point out is, and I don't think enough women really get this. I'm kind of glad you came on the show because it'll give me an opportunity to finally say that.
Yeah.
I don't think enough women understand, certainly not enough guys do, but I don't think enough women understand the power of like genuine desire. Like you're just saying, it's a lot of work, right? I don't want to have, if I'm not into it, then to you, it's e-part, right? And I've actually written essays on this about like how there was like marital par.
Archwinger too.
Yeah, he's talked about it as well. Is like it came out like right around the I know it was Aziz Ansari. When Aziz Ansari got like, it was kind of like this gray area between, well, she wanted to have sex with him, she gave the guy a blowjob, but she didn't want to have intercourse with him, right? And so she got to that point. So now is it e-par? Is it not? It's like, no, she just got, at some point she got buyer's remorse and she's just like, okay, I'm not really into this now. I realize after giving a Hummer that I don't want to get with him. And I thought about it and I go, you know, that's when terms like enthusiastic consent came out, because it was yes means yes, no means no, no means maybe, blah, 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 or I have to be into it every time. And then that's retroactive. So what people were saying at the time is like, you could go through divorce proceedings and say, did you have duty sex with your husband, right? Because you're Christians or whatever, you know, you have to have sex. If he wants you, then you got to give it up, right? I have actually brought up the term duty sex, like on Pat Campbell's show as well. Like when and people lose their mind, what are you talking about duty sex? I'm like, duty sex is like, that's comes out of the evangelical church, man. What are you talking about? I'm repeating what you told me. And so people see that and they think, well, if it's not sex that you're enthusiastically into and you didn't want to rip the guy's clothes off, then it's tantamount to e-par. And I'm like, well, that's interesting because you could extrapolate that and take that onto like divorce proceedings and say, you know, Mrs. Grow, did you ever have sex with your husband and you weren't really all that into, you weren't enthusiastically into it? Oh yeah, lots of times I had duty sex. Congratulations, your husband's now a statutory rapist.
Yeah, but see, that's why a lot of women don't go to like the cops about actual e-par. It's because they don't want to ruin the guy's reputation because they think it's their fault that they are not into it. They think there's something wrong with them. I'm telling you, I'm not saying that should be a thing. I understand when you say sex should be recognized as a need. I don't think so. Just because if it was recognized as a need, then it would have so many other implications in terms of sex work.
How you satisfy that need is not necessarily, doesn't take away from the fact that it is a need. So like when
for men,
okay, but hear me out. Like when I put that tweet out, did you catch the part I was reading about?
I got hacked on Twitter. I haven't been on Twitter.
Okay, so I haven't been on, but I was reading it on the show before.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I had this hypothetical question, which I've used several times. If there was a guy, oh wait, I think I still have it up here. I'll just read it to you. If you met a woman who had every green flag you could hope for, gorgeous, fit, loving, loyal, dressed modestly, no debt, no tattoos, no cosmetic surgery, nurturing, submissive, religious, but her one stipulation is that you can never have sex with her, would you marry her? Okay. And then I added this as a caveat. Presume that you can have as many children as you want via artificial insemination. She'll be affectionate and loving and never cheat on you, but you can never have sex with her. Do you get married? If sex is completely off the table, but every other aspect, it's the perfect marriage, the perfect wife for you.
This is literally why I've been saying that men that shame women for having so much sex, like women are not fucking in the ways that guys think they are, but like because we shame them for it, women are gonna be more sexually reclusive in general. They're gonna play off like they haven't done this before type shit, and then you marry her and it's like, if sex would have been more accepted, then this, like, you would have known earlier, like, oh, she's just not into me. It's not that she's new at sex, she just doesn't want to fuck me. I don't know, it's like weird.
No, I agree with you because like as I've said before, it's like, it's all about genuine desire. I don't want to have sex with a woman who doesn't want to have sex with me. I want you to like rip my clothes off. But
men don't want hoes. That's what's like, that's the cognitive dissonance that men have.
I think men do want a hoe. They just want her to be his hoe.
Well, see how that's kind of fucked up? It doesn't work.
Yeah, it is. It's
like if she's going to be your hoe, she was a hoe before, she got practice.
Right. Well, yeah, I suppose then you got to ask, how does she learn, right? But no, I was going to say is like, when I hear guys talk to me, like again, I'm going to quote Sterling Cooper here. To him, if a woman becomes like sexual with him, like sooner than later, right? He takes that as a compliment because what he says is that it makes me understand that she understands how important sex is to guys and that she sees me as such a high value guy that she wants to lock it down with sex, right? So you can look at it.
Men that like want them. Yeah, sorry.
You can look at it from that perspective, and then there's the guys who are like, well, I don't want, like, whenever I quote The Rational Male, when I quote like Iron Rule of Tomassi #3, which is any woman that makes you wait for sex, the sex is never worth the wait, because usually there's something that's some sort of mitigating factor. It's not about sex. It's not about the wait. It's about determining genuine desire, which of course is what you were just saying a moment ago, is like, you know, the men don't understand that maybe she doesn't want to fuck you because she doesn't have the desire to fuck you. So what do guys want to? So what do guys exactly? She doesn't want to. She has no. She doesn't want to fuck you, but because it says in the Bible that you're supposed to fuck your husband, now she's obligated to have sex with you. And what do I say about genuine desire? If you try to negotiate genuine desire, it only leads to obligated compliance. That's why women have such a problem with getting married. This is from the female side now. Well, men are worried about losing half their stuff. Women are like, I don't want to fuck a guy for the rest of my life that I don't really want to fuck. Right?
It's like slavery.
Yeah.
I know it's like hardcore to say that, but it feels like you're trapped. That's why they want to get out. Like, why do women not remarry, but men do? Yeah, because most men are that's the like, well, I can't have sex unless I'm married, or I want to have, I want to get back to where I was before. Most of the guys that I counsel who are like older, like 45 to 65 years old, they don't want to break up with their wives. They don't want to. They don't want to get out. Like, I'm trying to help these guys sort of reconstruct their lives and everything. They don't want to break up with their wives because they're in love with their wives. They just want their wives to. That's when I say manipulation is okay, because you're trying to fix your marriage. You gotta scare her a bit. Like, but a lot of times maybe you do have sex and the woman actually feels better. She's not yelling at you for like not closing the cabinet all the way. You notice how she's a little bit more calm. There's that aspect, but I don't think that's in the forefront. I don't think they attribute it to that.
I'm also gonna throw this on here too. So here's obesity for females. Or in the end. I know Aaron Clary is watching right now, so I would be remiss if I did not talk about like obesity rates too.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, honestly, I think that one of the reasons, the major contributing factor to sexless marriages right now is obesity. You're just not fuckable, or you were before you got married, and now you got fat. And and by the way, it's both. Okay, it's not just the guy, it's not just the woman or the man. Okay, it's both. You want to know? As God is my witness. The key to a successful, healthy marriage and having good fucking sex well into your 40s, 50s, and 60s, stay in shape, go to the fucking gym, be a normal weight, be into it, because I think that one of the things I've done, I think we did this on the show when you were on Access Vegas, is I've had women actually hit me up after a show in my DMs and they'll go, Rollo, I want to thank you for showing me the female delusion calculator. And I'm like, why is that? She goes, now I know how rare an animal my husband actually is, and I have a new.
Oh, I love that.
Guy. And the calculator was made so that women could so that Fresh and Fit could goof on women, right? But it's so much better tool than I think most people give it credit for, because like guys can see just how like sort of statistically how valuable they are in the sexual marketplace, and then women can actually see, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm actually with a guy that's not all that bad.
Yeah.
So for sure. I think the main reason why you have like such a high statistics for sexless marriages is primarily because, as you were saying, just exactly what you're saying. You're right. It's because women don't want to fuck the guy. They're not. They either didn't get worked up or whatever. And then when I was doing that experiment here on Twitter about like the perfect girl with what happens is I get these responses from these guys going, well, in the Bible, it says that you're supposed to have sex for real relationships with I'm like, that's not what this is about. It's not about obligation, but the obligation is I'm going to find anything I can possibly find to conscript my wife or my girlfriend into having sex with me, except for learning how to get her off, how to get her hot, how to be better looking, how to be arousing to the woman who I'm going to spend the rest of my fucking life with.
Like, I just want them to, like when I said 95%, I say that because a lot of guys don't think it's them. They're convinced that they're not the one that can't get her off. And I'm like, please assume that you are, because you might just save your marriage. Seriously. It's like,
well, when I look at like sexual frequencies, like I don't think guys should keep quotas. I think it should be more about the intensity of the sex. It should be more about.
I hope they suffer.
You hope you do, because you said Tori has changed quite a bit since the 3 years that we've known each other.
No, I'm just a masculine bitch.
Yeah,
I like a house husband.
I ruined Tori for all the men with me. Are you in a sexless marriage? A marriage is considered sexless if the couple is only having sex on average once a month or less. So this is
Why do tradcons lie about the frequency of sex?
because they want you to get married because it's in the Bible.
They're miserable and they want us to be like them.
It's confirmation of spiritual belief. That's what it is. And if they can't find statistics to make that back up, then they'll go, well, you know, it doesn't matter. The Lord wants you to.
Could you imagine if you had proof that they were fucking? Like you could see it just based on like a number on their head or something?
Yeah, you had some like spy camera inside.
Like God, privacy, it's like love it, but hate it at the same time because people lie.
15 to 20% of marriages are sexless. 20 to 30% of men say they have little to no sex drive. And 30 to 50% of women say they have little to no sex drive, which, by the way, kind of tracks with overweight and obesity rates, too.
You know what they say about like couples? I know you don't like couples therapy, but the dynamic I was talking about in the text message is like women end up picking up for those men. And so it turns into like a son, that's my child. And then the man also gets really annoyed that she's so controlling and nagging and stuff. And so he doesn't want to fuck her either. I wonder if that's like a contributor, or if when they say he has no desire to sex, it's because they can't get it up.
So something that's like physically there. Is this what
Rollo, what percentage of men do you think have ED in the age ranges of 18 and 30?
I don't know. Should I look it up?
I bet you if you ask.
That's okay.
Like a lot of young guys, from what I've heard, have it, and women also have complained about. Have you heard of this thing called the death grip?
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, I bet.
All right.
Percentage.
I'm like, stop holding your dick so tight.
Well, men. What was the age range you said?
18 to 30.
Erectile dysfunction affects 18%.
Okay, keep going.
In that,
looking.
18% of men aged 20 and up suffer from erectile dysfunction.
It's a higher percentage.
That's what Reuters says. Hold on a second.
It'll always say like 11, 18, and then you look at like the data broke down.
Not surprising.
I think there's men that are gay and they haven't come out yet. Do you think that?
Somebody will give me the actions.
Rollo.
Yeah. And they haven't come out yet? No.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of men that are bisexual and they like hate women for being their competition.
Bisexuality in men is like extraordinarily rare. Like
I know they
like you're either gay or you're not. It's like, you know, you either suck dick, don't suck dick.
Yeah, I just wish they would be honest.
What I love without sex. Can a couple have a serious relationship without sex? 80% says no, which was a retract.
80%.
The ideal amount of sex for a good relationship. Okay, this is by men and women. Okay, 65% several times per week, 69%. How long? They say several times per week. Could you be in a relationship with somebody abstinent? 68% said no. 12% said yes if I could have other sexual partners, which is exactly what tracked with my little survey there. And that's for women. And then 27% of men said that. Okay, I get it. How long could you be happy to wait before sex in a new relationship? Women, a few weeks, 40%. And then as much time as my partner needs, 55% of guys, which of course is why, because men perform and women choose. Okay, so lesser known sexless relationship effects. Increased irritability. This is what you were just talking about a minute ago, right? Depression. Poor communication, which is, by the way, is like the only solution I have read any female like dating coach or like sex coach say.
Women have a really hard time with this though, and they don't realize that like they're a big problem.
Reduced emotional intimacy, app-based flings. Flings, app-based flings. Would that be the
Ashley Madison documentary?
No, is it on?
Apparently, it's really good. I want to see it.
I want a reliance on pornography, of course. That's what reliance, but the reliance is as a result of not getting laid. So the guy's he's going to row. Who does that affect most? Low self-esteem, vengefulness. Sex becomes a touchy topic.
Vengefulness. That's the pouty. I've never seen any stat or any sort of infographic, whatever, ever say the poutiness. I thought that I was like innovative.
Well, see, that's the thing is like, then it starts this sort of negative feedback. Right? Yeah. So it's like, then it's like, oh, he's that way. Like the woman's not going to want to fuck you if you're just like, I'm going to get my fucking dick sucked.
Yeah.
That whole, that's the thing is like when, like women love to say that men aren't owed sex, but that's exactly what marriage is supposed to be about to a lot of guys.
Which is why they get divorced.
Yeah, exactly. Or don't get married in the first place.
Yeah, just don't get, like, I guess the kid thing, how do you make up for that though. Like we want 2-parent households, Rollo.
These were interesting here. What?
That's an important thing. Don't zone me out. Okay, if we tell people don't get married, it's probably better. What about the kids? What about the children?
Think of children. No, well, okay. So the best situation, this is just child psychology 101. The best situation for a child, raising a child, is in a 2-parent heterosexual family. Okay, bringing them up and having a good model of femininity and a conventional model of masculinity is always going to be the best.
I'd rather want to fuck my husband.
And it's much, throw this one out there. It's much better if you have, it's much better if the priority is between the husband and the wife rather than the child being the priority. And I only mean that by margin. Okay. Yeah. So the reason for that is because if mom and dad are happy and they like to fuck each other, that's going to manifest in other ways that have nothing to do with sex whatsoever. Right.
Gotta get the poison out.
Right. Well, the poison out, it won't suck itself.
Learning all of these fucking terms.
This goes back to your poutiness thing here. Cause and effect of sexless marriages. Causes and effects of sexless marriages. When a couple has sex less than 10 times per year or doesn't have sex for over a year, it's a sexless marriage. Okay, so now we can define terms. Sexless marriage signs. This is great.
Oh, God.
You don't groom anymore.
That's actually a thing.
Well,
gorillas do that.
Well, no, I mean, groom is like you don't like look good
themselves.
You don't make yourself look good for your partner, and you don't try to look good for your other partner. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
like the joke is this. And I don't have it on tap right now, but I have this. There's a cartoon where it's like this girl who's like sort of in this frumpy sweatpants and sweatshirt, right? And the panel says how I dress for the man that I want to have sex with. And then in the next panel, it's her like all dressed up and made up in a cocktail dress and everything, and how I dress for people for men that I don't want to have sex with.
Yeah.
And it's
I can't explain it either, Rollo. I hate being a woman sometimes. It makes no sense.
It's comfort. It
makes sense to me when you say this like contradicting thing, but I know it doesn't logically map on.
And well, it's because I'll tell you what's funny is when and I've said this before, women have no problem with cognitive dissonance, especially when it comes to hypergamy, when it comes to their sexual strategies. Anything's on the table at that point. And so when you laugh about it, you're like, oh, every time I talk to you, Rollo, it's like, you know, you bring something up and you giggle about it, right? It's like, yeah, because I'm bringing up like it's duplicity. And I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. It just is what it is.
I catch myself live just need to all the time. Yeah, it's true though.
Kids drain your energy.
Okay, that's something I was going to talk to you about because I was watching this girl on TikTok and I fell into a hole, and she was talking about something like work should pay for the first few weeks or something when you have a baby. But she said something and it stuck with me, and it was that nobody warns you that when you have the baby, every cell in your body is screaming to keep that baby alive. I don't know if it's the same for men because they didn't grow the child, but knowing that about women, I could see women doing way more for the child and not learning to just let it go. But if a guy is going to be like, hey, babe, let that go, and he hasn't been taking care of shit, why the fuck would I listen to you? You're incompetent. I'm going to end up taking care of the baby. It's like we can't trust them.
So that goes back to passive shit, or excuse me, passive shit tests. Okay. There's two kinds of shit tests. There's the active and the passive. The active is the one where you meet the girl at the bar and you start fucking around. He's like, you know, is he really who he says he is? And you could like
me all the time.
You.
Yeah.
And then there's the passive shit test, which is you're already in a relationship, and that shit test is meant to determine whether or not you're the best that she can do.
How do men interpret those ones? It's like
they don't. Most of the time they don't. They don't. And here's why. And they make women think that they're lazy. They just don't think that they should. Right?
Why?
I'm going to throw this out there, and I have to, because I'm so glad I got you on. I just thought of this.
Entitlement.
Okay. The entitlement. But here's, I am so fucking sick. And I don't know if you are, and I am so like soul sick of hearing, I need her to be my peace.
Oh my God. Shit.
Get the
fucking shit. You know I hate this.
I just want her to be, she just needs to be my peace. That's like, you remember I said value has it as a container word?
Yes.
Let's cram like be my peace into the value container word.
Oh, it triggers me.
I am so sick of that because nobody can.
The crazier bitches.
Yeah.
You already know.
Well, I'm going to explain something to you right now. Like if you're the audience here, that's for the people playing the home game right now. No woman will ever be your piece.
Never.
Never be your piece.
And
ever.
if they act like they are, they're manipulating you. Like women, we cannot live in this body.
You need a woman to be your piece, or you expect a woman.
Like, we'll do your laundry. I don't know what you mean by peace, but if you expect calmness, like, yeah, me too, bro.
There's no peace. There's only war.
It's always war.
Learn to thrive in the chaos. Don't wish it were easier, wish it were better. Like, women are not going to ever be your piece, all right?
Yeah.
And at the moment you think they are, that's when it's like, I'm pregnant. That's when it's like, I lost my job. It will never, do not look
something.
Do not look for women to be your piece. Okay, people will fight me on this and they'll go, "Oh, well, my wife's my piece." Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, right up until like she goes and complains to her mother-in-law or sister or girlfriends about what a fuck up
which
people
is
are.
the story, and
Yeah,
exactly. Makes herself the
right
victim.
Right up until something on the nice, perfectly even-keeled sailing that goes along, and suddenly there's one little bump and stuff. Like, there goes your piece.
Like you could.
It's just so.
We wage war, Rollo. 27% more. The queens. They wage war.
I should qualify this. I understand guys want. I understand. It's such a.
They want a boyfriend, Rollo.
It's a pleasant fiction.
They want a boyfriend when they say it. They tell me they're kind of gay.
I understand the design. I understand why you would like my fantasy girl. Like, remember I said, oh, she's a perfect girl, but she won't fuck you, but she'll be your piece. Like, if I should have probably included that in the
wait, like this?
Yes.
Like sister?
Yes. No woman is ever going to be.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's why men get so mad at women. That's why they get enraged, because they realize women are not as like sugar and nice, everything, whatever.
Well, I mean, let me see if I can find this. I think Teast or
like, I'm gonna make your life a living hell, but it's gonna be fun.
Never be bored.
You'll never be fucking bored.
You'll never be bored. Said that. What was I at? Oh, I was on Fresh and Fit one time, and some of the girls were like, "What do you bring to the table? Like, why should we want to get with you?" Like, they went around like there was guys and everything like that. And I go, well, I'll tell you this. I can't guarantee you I'll be a millionaire, but I will tell you this: you will never. Your life will never be boring.
They ask me, what do you bring to the table? And I'm like, absolutely fucking nothing. Nothing.
My tutor and my tutor makes up for all this value you think you would have.
Yeah, how should women answer that?
Honestly, I think
it comes off slutty.
Okay, well, first off, I think that if they're going to get like esoteric about things and they really want to like say, okay, well, let me figure out what's valuable to this guy. I wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to be your piece. I would say, I have insight. I think ahead. I'm smart enough to see things.
Don't you think that lacks insight if we said that?
I want insight. I think is the most rare thing to, well, in most people, but like certainly what very rare thing to find in women. Compassion. Use
They're
that.
NPCs.
There's a good word for you. Compassion. I'm looking like if I'm into you, I am ride or die. Like I want to be with you. If you're what was it? Eva Mendes and Ryan Gosling. I want to have more babies. That's what I want to hear come out of your mouth.
Yeah, but like, it sucks. It sucks. I don't know.
I know you're just having trouble. You can't find a guy.
No, I don't go out. I just don't. They're too much work, Rollo. I'm getting old. I don't want to.
Are you a femcel now?
A femcel? No, I know. If I walked outside and said, someone fuck me, men would come out of the bushes. Someone will do it. I'm just saying, like, I don't feel the urge to go for that.
You're not in a hunting mode.
No, maybe when I get closer to 30. You know, and the time's coming down.
How old are you now?
29.
29. Okay. Well, you're getting close. What is it, January?
I'm delusional and think
January
I still have
28?
31st.
31st. I knew I was close.
And it's crazy because, like, I spent so much of my 20s caretaking. And I don't think people understand that a lot of women that go through that, they don't really want relationships. They're too much work. I don't know. I probably need more therapy.
Okay, so here's how to have a good relation. Here's how to have a good, I'm going to quote Royce here. This is number 4. Don't play by her rules. If you allow a woman to make the rules, she will resent you with the seething contempt even a rapist cannot inspire.
That's assuming they don't have insight, which is a lot of them. But
the strongest woman and the most strident feminist want to be led and submit to a more powerful man. Polarity is the core of a healthy relationship. That's one of my favorite lines. She does not want the prerogative to walk all over you with her capricious demands and her mercurial moods.
I kind of like that.
Her emotions are a hurricane, her soul a saboteur. Think of yourself as a bulwark against her tempest. when she grasps for a pillar to steady herself against the whipping winds or yearns for an authority figure to foil her worst instincts, it is you who has to be there, strong, solid, unshakable, and immovable. And for Christ's sake, understand she was not your piece. You're her piece. You're the lighthouse in the storm.
It's like women want the men to save them. That's been a fairy tale forever. And I think women's kind of red pill moment is when they're married and they realize like the men are not fixing this stuff.
Still has good collagen. You have good collagen.
Thank you, baby. Theo? Yeah, it's tretinoin, prescription grade.
Let me get to these real quick here. Could you do a react to the man with 1,000 kids on Netflix?
Sounds miserable.
Like the Tinder swindler, he swoons women around the world to have his kids.
Oh, that guy's insane. Wasn't he a doctor? Like at the sperm clinic?
I don't know if that's the one, but I have talked about that guy before. This is a guy who
got welfare for all of them. It was like a welfare scam, wasn't it?
The world to have, he swoons them. So actually, he's the one who's, I don't think it's the doctor.
No, there's two.
There's several doctors who have like used their own sperm to inseminate women and have thousands of kids as a result of it.
Losers.
I used this. I used this one time. I was like, because guys will give me a grief about like, oh, you only had one kid, you're a failure. I'm like, well, how many?
One is more than enough.
How many daddy cool points do I get per kid, right? Like, how can I be higher in your esteem for that? And then I realized this. I go, it's not about like these guys think it's about like reproduction, how many children you have. So by that definition, the guy, like the doctor who inseminated thousands of women, that guy is alpha as fuck, and he's the one you should be living at. Like,
what if they all had girls?
Mm-hmm.
What if all the babies came out as girls and didn't carry on the name? How useful.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Your genetics are genetics.
They should all just like die.
I'm
just kidding.
There is a guy, I forget, I think he's in like some it might be Denmark, like some Scandinavian country, and these guys will go, and apparently they are like the prime demographic for sperm donation. Like they want sperm donors, for women who want to have kids on their own, right? But they get a sperm donor. And the problem is like they're getting them all from the same donor, and so now they have to like.
Oh my God, it's gonna be like Genghis Khan. They're related.
It's like inbreeding, like
yes,
dogs or something.
I've been literally saying that when we talk about like even polygamy, even with like one dude sleeping with them, like the kids are gonna start inbreeding. It's fucked up.
Well, I get into it occasionally with these guys like Mac and Murphy or Alex from Date Psych, and these guys are talking about like, oh, it's like women want to, they just want to they want to mate with a guy who is of their same socioeconomic status or whatever. I'm like, clearly not, because that's not who they're choosing when they're looking for a sperm donor if they're trying to get artificially inseminated, right? They're not looking for the guy who's the doctor who has a high IQ. They're looking for the guy who is like X 6 feet tall and looks like he's got abs.
They've been saying that the rise in autism is like from an evolutionary perspective, it's because like autism equals success, money, intelligence. And so now there's more cases of autism because more men who are autistic are actually like mating. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it, but that like we don't care about the guy that has money. If we did, then, well, it's kind of like guys with how they view women with makeup. It's like, yeah, she doesn't look the best without it, but she looks really good with it, right? For women, it's like yeah, we want a trust fund baby, 6'5", blue eyes, but like we'll take the guy that looks like he could get it together.
Yeah, who has potential, the potential factor.
Yeah, what did you used to call that?
Potential.
The guy that looks like it. Did you call it potential? The guy that looks like he can make money if he loses his job.
Oh, that's creative intelligence is what.
Yeah, that.
Women select for creative. Well, I mean, they select for creative intelligence if they have, if they have social proof, they have pre-selection, they know the guy well enough. There's a list of criteria that has to be made before that becomes sort of an attractant. So like when the scenario was this was actually a socio-psychological experiment they did, and I remember reading about this when I was in college, so I know this is something legit. They had these archetypes, and one of like four different archetypes of like different men, and they're all controlled for like good looks. Okay, so they're all equally good looking, or they might even be the same guy. Like they're all the same dude. One of them is sort of like a trust fund baby guy. He came into money, never made it himself, and works for his family's business or whatever else. Then there's the guy who didn't come from money, and he built up his own business or whatever, and then he suffered a setback. He went bankrupt, but he then made money again. Like he got zeroed out and he came back from zero. Right? And so there's two other archetypes. Those are the only two that you really need to focus on because they're both variations of it. But the women found that the guy who had the creative intelligence to be able to go from rags to riches to rags again, and then back to riches again. That was a guy who was always going to be more because he has the creative intelligence to improvise and to like be able to like rebuild the village after the tornado goes.
And the humility to admit it. Like there's guys that have gone through some shit and they lie about it because they don't want to seem as like they fuck up their credit and shit, but they won't say that. Kind of like women that lie about their debt and then you find out later.
Own their failures and own their successes.
Yeah, like it's so attractive being authentic. And I get it. If you're authentic, girls don't like you, but like do work. Okay, you got to do more work. I don't know what it is. You're probably awkward. I don't know.
Well, you know, like Rich Cooper always says, you know, women don't care about men's struggles. They wait at the finish line and they fuck the winners. Yeah. Well,
He triggers me.
The thing is like, you don't get to be a winner unless you go through those struggles in the first place. So what defines that guy as a winner in the first place? Is it just because he just suddenly has a lot of money and a McLaren? No, he was able to go from nothing to something, suffered setbacks, and now he's a winner as a result of having to go through all that stuff. There are criteria and qualifiers for what makes a guy a winner. As I said, the guy who just comes into money because he has family money is not the same level of attractiveness as the guy who like came from nothing, busted his ass, lost it all, and then came back from that again because he's an ideas guy. He's creative. That's why I said it's creative intelligence. Women select for who's more creative because that in the long term, in long-term security, creativity and improvisation and being able to come back from adversity again, that's always going to be more attractive than the guy who just got a shit ton of money and really didn't know how he got it. You know? Or was that born on third and thought he hit a triple?
How he, like, I dated this one guy for almost like 2 years or something. And he like lost a lot of, I forget exactly. It was like brain injury. It's been a minute. He lost like his house. He had a house that he got when he was young that he worked really hard for. He didn't go to college, very intelligent, like engineer, like crazy intelligent, doesn't need AI to do it. Ended up getting a machine shop. He manufactures gun parts and literally got rid of the house, obviously, and worked and stayed there overnight, which is like kind of illegal, but like literally for 3 years. So like being able to not spend money and be stuck in your home, like or stuck at work, working nonstop. And something that I remember was that his team like always took his word for shit. They always listened to him. They never like he really was a leader, and now he's doing exceptionally well. Multiple homes, McLarens, you know, like, yeah. Well, it's like, I like to see those success stories, but he worked his ass off. Years 20.
Well, I mean, then I think that's becoming a little bit more, it's easy to like fake the cues of high value right now, especially on like social media and Instagram and stuff. It's I don't know if you,
not to me, but yeah. I worked in nightclubs. Okay.
Are you still a bartender? What are you doing for work?
Just YouTube.
That's all you do? See, made it work. Yeah. I'm going to grab this. I got a picture I got to show you. So as I was saying, it's never been easier to fake the cues, especially the perception cues, visual cues of high value. So I'll show you this. Want to see my new car?
Did you get a new car?
No, people think I did.
Oh shit.
So
dope picture.
It's a good picture. This is actually Fresh's car.
Oh, nice.
I was in Miami and he's like, I need to get a new picture for you for the thumbnail. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I thought it was a good picture, right? So I put it up on Instagram. What do you think people thought? Oh man, that's a flex. What? It's your new car. Is that the car you bought from ripping off all those incels and making them feel like insecure, manipulative, fuck.
You know how I was just talking about this with my girlfriend. She's like, you always date guys that are well off. And I'm like, no, I date guys that are smart. She's like, no, seriously, like so-and-so, they didn't take you anywhere like crazy in the beginning. And she was like, how'd you know? I was like, he showed up to a date with a Prius. That's how you know he has 2 cars. She's like, how do you know that? And I'm like, because he's smart. He uses one as his daily commuter and then has his Tesla.
And one is this flex car.
Yeah. But like the guys that wear kind of the same thing every day.
Well, it's like I think it's never been easier to like fake the cues of high value right now. And then, but the thing is like even Justin Waller said this is like, well, at some point that girl's going to find out that you're a fake. It's like, well, yeah.
When's she going to look at your tax returns?
Yeah, exactly. Like she's going to, if you're faking that you're an attorney and you're actually a sandwich artist at Subway, right, that might be
Rollo, a guy, I always tell this story. They're like, yeah, I travel for work. He works for Uber. He wasn't lying.
I love this line. It's like, just say you're an industrialist.
Oh,
What's
God.
an industrialist? Exactly. Exactly.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny.
No, but I was going to say is like getting back to your creative intelligence question. Right now, especially online, especially the quote unquote the entrepreneur set right now, I think a lot of guys come up with like, they're able to come up with one hit or they're one hit wonders. Like their bands, they're one hit wonders. They come up with one really great song and that's it. And nobody cares about them after that. Right. I think that the true test of, well, really a guy, but like the true test of an entrepreneur or a man in general is, can you repeat that success? Was it just a one hit wonder? Was it just one thing that you did? And now you think you're a fucking genius because that thing made you $1 million, but you can't repeat it. So for instance, like when I wrote The Rational Male, there's none of my other 5 or 4 books after that are going to compare to the first book.
I love religion. I think it's one of your best work.
Good too. Yeah. But if one outsells all of them, it's the first one. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
But that doesn't mean you stop. Like if you're a musician, you don't stop at one album. You do more and more and more.
I like the options.
Yeah. So, but can you repeat that success? Are you really a genius, or did you just get lucky on the first time?
Who are you talking about?
I'm just talking about people
men in general.
Like people
they got to learn to pivot.
I think it's just more obvious now because we live in an age that's sort of like social media driven. So for instance, I'm only as good as my last book, and I know that, and other people know that too. That's pretty obvious.
That's all they know
I do. But the thing is that if you have a podcast, or if you have some other, a knowledge-based product or something like that happens to be really, really good, can you repeat that? Or were you just in the right place at the right time in the right niche with the right product?
I think that's usually, there's more luck, if you want to call it that, than there is strategy. I mean, yeah, the more you work, I put out like thousands of videos, like I deleted some, but like I know what hardworking is. I think it's when you're in the right place at the right time, which in order to do that, you have to be really disciplined. Like do your stuff every day. Also network, It's like there's so many things, but how can you tell that somebody's gonna be able to repeat it?
Well, I think that you can't. That's just it. But you have to see.
I can tell in my blood.
Can you can tell. Yeah. Well, I think probably it's when women, as you're saying,
evolved for it.
When women are more attracted to the guy who has the creative intelligence, that's the guy who can repeat his successes. Whereas a guy who just got lucky on one thing, like he won the lottery, right? Is he going to be able to repeat winning the lottery? Probably not.
But his attitude might bring him to do it again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
It's like mindset. Yeah. I know it's such a girl thing to say, but it's really interesting.
Why do so many women think they deserve to have their needs met without having to give anything in return? A man can break himself at work all day, but 20 minutes on her back is too much to ask.
Okay, but we work too, bro. Sorry.
Oh, wait,
I'm getting my period.
Aaron Clary, he's like, oh, is Torshaa there? It shows up. I removed flags from my yard. You mean your gay pride flags, right?
That's funny. I want to do a show with him.
She makes a lot of generalizations about men that aren't factual. Can we ask her what specific factual proof she has to make these assertions?
Can you be more specific on the specific factual proof you would like?
You can give me a specific assertion that you think I.
Do you think I make a lot of generalizations? I try to give the caveat. Like not all men.
Like I don't think that I disagree with any. I just think about the application rather than like the actual principle what you're talking about. So because anyone else feel like they're watching
people what to do with it?
Are we having foreplay right now? Anyone else feel like we're watching?
Is that what foreplay is? I wouldn't know.
Witty banter is foreplay.
So you understand women?
I do.
Yeah.
I know how to give them orgasms. That's all I'm saying.
That's what they all say.
It's not rough. Not something you need a college major in, really. Maybe you guys do. I don't know about.
I think it's like the porn.
Yeah.
It's not the same that it used to be.
That is true.
I really think it was.
Oh, you know what it was? Oh, I know it was. Mike Sartain brought this up. He's like, I don't know if you guys watch porn in the 90s. He says, but compared to the porn that's out today, like the 90s is like you had to be a rock star. Like the women had like that perfect bodies, had a perfect breast. They had to like be acrobats and everything. The skin had to be totally smooth. They had to have the right hair, and they had to like give a really good hummer and everything.
And they were nice.
Yeah, exactly.
They had better storylines.
Yes. Yes, he said. He's like, it's like another. It's like the WWE versus like just like an average barroom fight.
Yeah.
If she won't clean if she won't clean, get a maid. If she won't
Yes.
cook, get a chef. If
Yes.
she won't change diapers, get a nanny. If she won't do, you then outsource it, which is
That's
exactly
the kind of vibe I fuck.
well, yeah.
We need help.
Okay, so it's actually a pretty good jump off point there, because when I was talking about the chick that was the blonde girl versus the sort of the plain Jane Wallflower girl that was in the whatever video.
The one that guys pretend they're attracted to.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly.
Not all men.
No. So, but the thing is like I was trying to make that clear in my tweet, which was she has everything, right? You don't have to worry about cooking. You don't have to worry about nurturing. You don't have to worry about changing diapers. You know, if all the needs are met, what does that woman bring to the table? If she doesn't have to cook, because you can pay for it. If she doesn't have to clean, you have the maid comes every other day. You have a nanny to take care of the diapers, assuming you have a kid, whatever. Okay, all of that, everything is taken care of. What do you bring? Pussy.
The thing is though, like I talk about this and I get a lot of shit for it when I say women are not a utility, just like women view men as a utility in terms of money. But it's like, Myron did a video the other day that's like women are useless. And it's like, yeah, no shit. So are men in that same regard. And it's like, why do we keep trying to say what they can do for you? It's almost like codependent, like parasitic. I know that's a feminist talking point, but I'm just telling you that's the way it feels. It's like I want to fuck you because I chose to fuck you, not that you can fuck me.
Yeah, and I don't know how to relate that to guys who are like the 80%ers, guys who don't fuck. Right?
They get really mad.
Are you subscribed to my Substack yet? Because I'm writing new shit on my Substack.
You know what? I get your emails. Actually, I am. I think I do. I read them all the time. You did one on
freebie.
You did one on evolution, and I was like, oh, you watch my videos now? I'm just kidding. Or we're just on the same frame.
This is our foreplay, right? So no, I was going to say is I'm now writing more actively on Substack than anywhere else because it's a subscription-based thing. So it's really, you should probably write on Substack.
I have one.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so I'm gonna have to sub to you.
Not very good, but I'm trying.
So like the point of all this, as far as sexless marriages and stuff is concerned, I think it really has more to do with genuine desire. I think it has more to do with the fact that you want, like you just said, I want to fuck you. I don't want to feel like I need to fuck you because I'm not obligated to fuck you. Yeah. I want to have really good hot monkey sex with you because it's what I want. Yeah. And so, like, again, if all your needs are met, if you don't have to worry about diapers or cleaning up the surface counters, whatever, like,
you have to, okay?
Yeah,
fuck with me.
Well, it's funny is like people go, Rollo, do you do dishes? Like that's big.
It's so hot.
You know what? If it's not hot.
No, it is. I'll tell you exactly why. When they have a washcloth.
It's just when I go, I'm sick of looking at the fucking dishes in the sink, and then I'll do that. Like if I'm living alone or if I'm with somebody else, I'm still gonna go do that.
I think this idea that chore play in terms of like men doing dishes just to fuck me, please. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about bartender men, because I was a bartender. The guys that take the rag and they flip it over here, and they or they take it down and like wipe it. It's like, that's hot. Same with like squeezing a lemon. Like I want to fuck you when you do those things.
Okay, so squeezing a lemon requires some sort of grip strength. Got that.
Like here.
The thing about chore play versus like what you're talking about. Chore play is basically the idea is that men who do chores, like domestic chores, are hotter because they're doing these chores. And really what happens is guys will pick up on that. Like, oh, that's the key? My wife will fuck me if I do more dishes. I've changed the baby in her.
I bet women would fuck them more if they were taking part.
But they don't fuck them for the logic that they use with foreplay or with.
No, of course not, man.
So the reason why the writers of these articles, which are all women, think that that's in some way so hot is because they want guys to think that that's hot. So they'll work around the house more, and therefore will free them up to have more spare time and to be more down with putting on lingerie for their man because he's busy changing the diaper and taking the kid over to
Okay, we'll find new problems to bitch about. You're not wrong, but I'm just like, we need help. We need help. I'm telling you, like, women will never admit that they need help because they don't want to seem as incompetent, but they need the help.
So if I need help, okay, I'm going to meet your needs. Okay. Your needs are, I need you to clean up the house a little bit better. What if I go, you know what? Fine. No problem. I'm going to hire Consuela and she's going to come in on every other day, and she's going to clean up and do all the stuff that I don't necessarily want to do because I'm too busy making a shit ton of money, but she's going to clean up and she's going to take care of that. Now, does that solve your need?
And that's amazing unless you start yelling.
Or if I have to do it, or can I pay for the service that
I don't want to know you paid for it. Just do it. Just get them to pay them. I don't want to hear about the price of it. If you bring it up later, I'm going to yell at you.
No, it's not the fact that I'm actually doing the chore. It's the fact that you want something done.
Yeah, we need help. Like I speak,
if I have Consuela squeeze the lemon and I have Consuela throw the towel over her shoulder, it's not the same.
Well, it's like just like anticipate stuff, because women, when you anticipate, like a woman that actually loves you, she's gonna bring it back twofold. You give us fucking sperm, we make you a human. You know, it's like they're like until you do that for a certain amount of time and actually see how her behavior changes. If you do it for months and she's not fucking you, she's cheating on you. That sounds horrible. It's probably not true, but like try actually putting in work somewhere, because you just bringing home a paycheck, you know, I could divorce you, get the fucking child support from you. It's the same thing.
The reason why I bring this up is because
that was a good point. You missed it.
It's not about the chore. It's about the guy doing the chore, because it is a manifestation of competency. So if the guy,
you know what I hate,
that I'm right all the time.
Can I rant?
Yeah.
And
go.
I hate when men are like, look, see, I cleaned it. And it's like, what the fuck am I, your mom during middle school, where you're like, see, I put everything under the bed. You didn't fucking clean anything, loser.
That all?
Yeah, that's it.
I give you more time.
I'll come up with something else in 10 minutes.
So the reason why I bring this up is it's not like chore play is not about the chore, and it's not about freeing up mama for more time. It's about the fact that that woman, it's a shit test. It's a passive shit test. She wants to know that you'll think to clean, that the thought will enter your brain that you ought to help out around the house. Women don't. I'm
mental load.
I'm of the opinion, like you were just saying a minute ago. Like imagine this. Like if the guy goes, oh. So I read this article, honey, and it says that women will have more sex with their husbands if
I literally already don't want to fuck you.
They wash more dishes, right? And so I'm washing dishes.
Like,
what does that mean? You know, like that whole thing, because that once again, observing a process changes the process. So it's not about that. It's about just getting it. He just has to get it. He just has to understand that this is what I want from him. I have to be a mind reader, but he just gets it.
The worst thing that guy says,
what he's supposed to do.
If a girl's like, or if your wife is like, I just want you to help. I need you to do that. I just want you to do it. And they say, well, can you make me a list? I've checked out. I'm divorcing you. I'm your future ex-wife.
Vocalizing it turns you off.
It's like, why the fuck do I need to make my little boyfriend a list? That's what it feels like. I know it's like fucked up. It's just that's literally, I'm telling you exactly how they feel.
Okay, I'm gonna give you the flip side to that, because I got in trouble for saying this not too long ago.
Oh, why?
So you should, like, I should know you well enough to know that, hey, I'm gonna take out the trash, right? I'm gonna go mow the lawn. Most of the time, like domestic chores, if the guy's out there chopping wood shirtless, that's a turn on, because he's doing something that shows competency, right? It's not the act, or it's not the actual chore. It's the fact that he thought of it first, and it's competency, because is he the best I can do? Yes, he is, because he thinks of shit before I even think of it, right? That's number one. Number two is, I brought this up before that, and this goes back to your point, like he should just know this, right? And if I have to tell him, and if I have to tell him how to be masculine, if I have to tell him how to be competent, he's not the guy for me.
Like, I'd rather just get child support from you. It's not a nice thing, but it's the same fucking thing, right? But now I got to pick up after your ass so you don't listen.
Likewise.
Okay, so
if I'm with a chick, and she should know, she should have enough interest in me to know what I like, when I want to get my cock sucked, and when I want to eat dinner, and when I want to do things. She should know this about me. So like if a woman says, I'm going to go out on, is it okay with you if I go out on my girls' night out with my girls, or if I go to Vegas for a weekend or whatever?
It's like, I hate you.
The very fact that you're actually verbalizing that in the first place means you don't know, you don't get it. You don't just, because
men don't really say that.
No, of course they don't, because most guys are sexually necessitous. They can't.
Yeah, there's scarcity. They're like,
scarcity.
okay.
80% of guys don't fuck. Okay, those are in males, and if those guys get married, they're always in a state of necessity, meaning that they're all like, she has the pussy, she makes the rules. Oh, she wants to go on her girls' night out, she wants to go to Vegas with her girlfriends. Oh, I guess I have to be cool with that to prove that I'm not an insecure guy. Meanwhile, she's fucking Tyrone. Okay, so
you know why a lot of women like to do that too? I haven't written about it, but I was going to. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like we notice that when women disappear for a bit, you start to act in the same way that you did in the beginning of the relationship. It's like the same way that you try to trick women into fucking you by pretending you have somebody on the side. Women do this because it actually works. Like, why can't you just figure it out when you're together?
Competition anxiety is what it is.
Yeah.
I was talking about, we were just, Ryan Stone always talks about dread because he's got a book called Dread.
Yeah. I've read it.
And so I think that that's another reason why guys end up in sexless marriages is because, first of all, they tend to become valueless or lower value as a result of getting married it's not because they're, obesity. Okay. But also they don't have the opportunities to display or to have any kind of like third-party social proof or pre-selection. So prior to getting married, when you're in your single days and your girlfriends are like, man, he's hot. If you don't fuck him, I'm going to fuck him. Like that kind of competition anxiety, that builds his value. Once that's already locked down and there's no chance because he's married, if he fucks up, child support, take half of his stuff, right? That kind of stuff. That guy, as you would say before, like men in relationships, men in marriages, their testosterone levels decrease because that's what foments parental investment, right? Give him the extra scoop of rice, make him a little fatter so the girls don't want to get with him kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is like, that's why I keep saying, I love that line that Royce uses, like, polarity is a key to a healthy relationship. Yes, it is, because you're resisting the commonality of getting fat, of giving up, sort of like, letting go of yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things, because, and it's not the act of letting go. It's a fact that you no longer can put yourself into situations where your value would confirmed. And I was reading that one, I don't know if you saw this before you came on, but I was reading that one, I think it was a Reddit post or something about the guy who actively seeks out situations where he's with his wife and he can get flirty, or girls will get flirty with him.
Oh, you mean like the grocery store?
She won't fuck him unless she feels that there's some other girl wants to fuck him. And really what it's a form of mate choice copying, but it's also the reason why it works is because most men aren't used to being in a situation where pre-selection even works for them. And if they do get into those situations, they try to diffuse it. Oh, I would never cheat on you, honey. It's okay.
Men always talk about, though, that as soon as they get in a relationship, girls slide in their DMs. They cognitively know it. They just probably don't notice it to like the greatest extent of working in their favor.
Me and my girlfriends, we were having a dick sucking contest. We thought you'd be a really good judge.
Literally.
No, let's see, here we go. 90% of OnlyFans subscribers are married men. True. I was going to bring this up. Thank you for bringing this up, Rational. OnlyFans has saved more marriages than it has destroyed. Changed my mind. I agree with you 100%.
If I find out you're talking to another bitch and asking for her nudes, you're dead to me. I'm divorcing you. It's not the right thing.
Right after you fucking to glory.
Yeah, I might fuck you out.
Let me show you how I can fuck better than this bitch.
No, but he's not wrong. It does save a lot of marriages because it kind of gives you, I can understand it. I'm psycho, but I can understand like from like a philosophical level, it's getting that extra actual woman from next door where it's almost like cheating, but you're not, because you ask them for shit, right?
There's the resource side of things too. Okay. So you got to remember that like most of the money that women make off of OnlyFans is not from subscriptions. It's from tips. So when they're,
I was bartender.
You want to make it rain, it's all about tips. Like a woman making $20, $30 a month off of their subscriptions is nothing compared to the $4,000 they might get from this.
And they don't post a lot either. That's what's crazy, because men still like the chase. They don't like all of it, it's crazy.
Well, I love how people always, I was just, when I was doing the build up or the prep work for today's show, I thought about that. I was like, you know what, 90% of men on only consumers of OnlyFans are married men. Well, ladies, why the fuck do you think that is? Well, I'm not saying you have to live up to those chicks on the thing, but those guys are there because that's their escape. It's just like World of Warcraft, man. It's just like it's a engagement media, but it's like that their escape life is better than their shitty life.
Yeah.
So,
true.
But and he's just paraphrasing one of my things. Is pornography is basically, I don't say it's prolonged more marriages than it has ever destroyed, because that's what guys use in a sexless marriage. That's what guys use as their sexual release.
And guess what? They're not annoying her anymore about it. I think a lot of times which sounds crazy. I don't like to say this stuff either. I'm just saying.
I should also caveat here. I'm not endorsing that. I think it's, I think pornography, I've said a million times, it's a sedation. And if your escape life is better than your shitty real life, you need to reassess your real life.
I forgot what I was going to say earlier to that. What other point did you bring up?
About
just now. There was something that popped in my head. I was like, oh,
as far as like, well,
the married men. I was like Christians, something like Christians.
Oh, okay. So 70% of Christian men admit to having a problem with pornography, whether that's an addiction or how they like say that they basically
might think they have an addiction because of the way they view sex as a sin.
Pornography is not an addiction. I wish people would just get that out of there. It's not a it's a habituation for sure, but it's not a physical addiction. And people want to say, "Oh, what dopamine?"
Yes,
if that were the case, you could get addicted to driving really fast in cars.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they've already done research and they can't conclude that it's an addiction. There's some like faulty
I'm not saying it's not a problem. And I'm not saying it's not habituation. It most definitely is. But if you're going to call it an addiction, you're just trying to.
Yeah. And I was thinking, fuck, I forgot it again. Hold on.
Okay. Keep that thought. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
You can change
the biggest red pill, before I forget it, the biggest red pill I learned was that most men aren't fucking. Like prior to red pill, I thought that every single man, fat, ugly, the guy that was like disgusting, like that would shit himself in school. I thought all of these men were fucking a new bitch every once a week. If you've ever watched me interview women, I'm like, how many hoes do you think men have? And they're like, every month? And I'm like, yeah, they're like, I don't know, like 50. And so when you realize that men aren't fucking, it really changes like how women view men and sex. Like women are like, men just need to stop with the porn because they view men as disgusting and fucking so many things weekly and shit. I don't know. Oh no. Hey y'all.
Oh, you want that one here?
Hey y'all.
My sound drop, by the way. I took that from Brittany Renner. Everybody wants.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Here is, just to sort of back up what you were saying here, single men. More young men are single than women in the post-pandemic era. Look at that, 63 and 34. Now, these are who say that they are single, okay? And they pull that from this data right here, which is I believe this is GSS data. I always use this as sort of a counterpoint when people say, well, you know, Rollo, that, you know, guys are getting laid. Like they're not, Mike always uses the data from 2018 about how like 33% of guys are basically virgins right now. And of course you get all these guys who are like sort of the Evo psych gatekeepers who want to say, well, it's really not as bad as all you think it is. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of.
But like, no matter what we say, assume it's feminism, assume it's whatever. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Right.
Because it's like, that's what red pill is. And I hate when other like actors will like preach the red pill and it's all about the problem. And it's like, can we bring it back to the OG shit? Like, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to be the guy that's not fucking? Because like nobody pities you more than like other men or I'm sorry, women.
Don't wish it were easier, wish it were better.
Like, what do you tell them?
Well, I point out a few things. One is it comes down to the argument of like hypo-agency versus hyper-agency. Hyper-agency means you happen to the world. Hypo-agency means that the world happens to you. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of people are, especially now, well, because we've made it so easy to be this way, but most people are hypo-agent. They think that the world is happening to them and that there's nothing they can fucking do about it. So
really, I think they have agency.
Well, I think a lot of guys, I've heard guys say this, like, well, you know, the reason why women are the way they are is because men have the power. We just don't exercise and we don't do anything about it. No, you don't. In fact, I would love to see you try to exercise that. Like, please prove me wrong and show me.
And addictions. I can separate the person from their addiction. It's a very rare thing I can do, but like, I don't think men realize how much they destroy their life with something like alcohol, which is legal, until they're like almost 30, let's say. They're young still, and they're like, well, maybe I'll go to rehab. Like, the faster you get your shit together, it only benefits you more. Like, aging is a privilege. Don't make it a regret. Jesus.
I have to, it's funny because I have not had a drink since December of 2017. And
I'm drinking right now.
No, you're probably running back.
It's a weekend and I don't go out.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's Malibu and Coke.
Well, put it this way. I don't have a problem with people drinking at all. Trust me, I will never pontificate about people drinking because I worked in wine and spirits for 15, 20 years. So like, please drink more, but drink my brands. You know, drink Vango vodka and drink, you know, tap whiskey. So when I'm talking about like alcohol, I think people think I'm like really super puritanical or I have some sort of
no,
not at all. I've never had a DUI. I've never had a problem with alcohol. I just stopped right before I began writing book 4.
Yeah, you, me, and Sartain all work in the same industry.
I don't have a. I guess we did, didn't we? Because you're a bartender. I worked in wine and spirits for forever.
I book tables too.
I worked in wine and spirits from 2005 all the way up to, well, really till the pandemic. So
you understand the importance of looks too. When you work in that industry, it's like it's a no-brainer.
Well, I don't think people realize like that. Okay, Access Vegas is kind of a natural extension of what I used to do in wine and spirits. So
yeah,
I used to have to go do promos. I was the art director. I was a principal creative for it was called Van Gogh Imports.
You managed the promo girls too.
Yeah, and I was responsible for a portfolio of about 2 dozen different brands.
A lot.
Yeah.
Most people do like one company. You know that, right?
I wonder why. How come Rollo is so good at being a one-man show? That's why, because I had to.
Literally.
Well, I literally had to do that.
Goals.
But no, I had to. I used to have to pick my poor girls and guys too. I had to pick beautiful people to be at different events, and I had to make them look. And that's booth candy, right? You need to get them come. A sexy bartender is going to get people to come over.
But guess what? Who does better? The really hot bartender or the one that's really charismatic and still hot?
Mm-hmm. If it's a guy, if it's a guy, charisma counts for a lot. Like being able to carry on a conversation and being like a good conversationalist. Like I would love to have a guy who's got charisma and some good looks, right? Rather than just be somebody who's
yeah, the men are fun. Like I learned from men. Some of the best male bartenders in the game.
Kind of have to be extroverted to begin with. In that, I've known a lot of guys who are
get drunk.
Well, I'll tell you what. Yeah, well, you got to do that too. Well, but the other thing is like when I was at the promos, I couldn't drink. I was working.
Yeah, we can't either.
That's why
the managers and the owners are still drinking.
I was talking to Ed Lattimore one time. I said, you know what? Like being the only sober dude in a club at like 2 a.m. is a fucking superpower. Because like everybody else doesn't know what the fuck's going on and you do. And people look up to, oh man, like, no, I'm just the sober one. You're the...
Yeah. It really is a power though, because you get to sound like everybody sounds crazy, but you're going to sound most competent and stuff. Yeah.
You're going to sound not drunk. You probably dealt with this too. Like when we be on like Fresh and Fit and that's what I call, the point of diminishing returns. Like you get to the point where like the girls are like, they're one White Claw in and they can carry on a conversation and they're like really with it. 2 White. Now they get indignant. They're still with it, but they're just indignant. You get to 3 and like we've hit the point of diminishing returns. Like
why are you wearing headphones if you're not going to listen to the fact that you're over talking all the time? You know what I mean?
They raise we've had girls on Access Vegas who will raise their voice like 10 decibels on the, when they were trying to emphasize the point, like, bitch, you're talking into a mic, okay? You don't have to raise your voice.
Nothing that they say is like anything that interesting, except for this one girl that Myron just interviewed on the street. I was like, oh, she gets it, but she gets it from a whole new perspective. I was like, oh, this is actually like interesting. So it's rare, but it happens.
Let me do these real quick. You can change her last name to the Courthouse without getting married. It will be Torshaa Bennington. Okay, he's proposing you.
$1,000 for my troubles.
Rollo, I don't like this lady. What did you like about her?
Cry about it.
Oh, doesn't matter. I do.
They'll be back. They love it.
Rollo is simping. He's simping. You know what gives me? Okay.
Oh my God! Don't get me fucking started.
Because
you have to simp a little bit, guys.
What is like anything you can say? If I want to give you a compliment, say your hair looks great because you're clearly your hair's different than the last time. Okay. If I say that, people go, oh, Rollo's simping.
You can't win. They're miserable.
Yeah. Well, no. I catch myself like I'll have a conversation like with Tiffany or somebody. Like it could just be a private conversation. And I'll say, "Oh, you look real good on Fresh and Fit the other day," and I have to say, "No simp."
Oh, like no homo.
Homo. No simp.
I like a man.
I'm doing a casual conversation. There's no one around.
I've been saying I like a man with some simp tendencies. I'm trying to normalize. Men have to be nice.
You don't want an earshot.
Yeah.
But I hate that. It's like I can't you can't carry on a conversation with them.
No.
Man, encouraging back and forth conversations on sex is part of frame, not just when there are relationship problems. True. It's how you learn and can become outlet of creativity. Women, learn to get to an emotional place where sex is enthusiastic. About
men that get it. Such a breath of fresh air. Because I've been talking to a lot of black pill channels. I don't know if you've watched my content.
Catch them. They end up in my feed, but it's usually like I think you talked to Undead Chronic too.
I like Undead Chronic. He's got his thing, He's doing it, but he was respectful to me. He didn't talk shit about me.
I'm not ashamed to say it. I do like Undead Chronic. I did like last summer. We was talking about the whole Britney Fenty thing that was going on, and I have a new appreciation for Undead Chronic.
Yeah, he's virtuous. I don't think a lot of people see that unless you watch him for a moment. He's like, stop doing dumb shit.
why does Justin Waller wear suits if he does construction? Because he owns
the company. Yeah, I wonder why. For fun?
Because they made him wear a suit on Michael Knowles' ship. Did you see the Michael Knowles interview with
No,
Justin
I'm looking forward. I heard you mention it. He always dresses really nice.
Michael Knowles, like, I think after that, he wants to be Justin Waller. He's like, God, I wish I could fucking have this lifestyle.
Men that are like unapologetically themselves and just own it. It's like usually
if you you'll get to it, but if you scrub toward the last third of the video, like Justin's talking about how it's like 9 a.m. and they're like tossing back like whiskey.
Love that. I love that.
I'm like, oh, so they're actually drinking on the show. I struggle with finding the source for the infamous graph I've seen you use showing the correlation between women on the pill and divorce rates from, they're 96. I have it. Yeah, it's actually two laid on top of each other. Do I have one?
Which you can do. You can look at
the reason why you're not finding that is because it's a graph that I did.
But explain why you can do that. Because sometimes people will think we cherry pick.
Different data points.
Yeah, they're two different data points. So you have to, and people can do this when they're assessing or making observations. It's not always like correlative or whatever, but so they know.
You can find the rise, the spike in divorce rates pretty much anywhere. Just go Google that. You can find bar graphs, you can find the line graphs, whatever. Okay, so that's what I did. Grab that. Then I had the insight to see what the correlation would be between the rise in hormonal birth control versus the rise in divorce. You're not going to find too many articles on this because people don't like to make certain correlations. So what I did was it's
identical. It's not even off. This is where people make an exception. Like when it's really like that spot on to the point where you can layer them over each other. Yeah. Like people will be like, okay.
I know it's so, I have it right. I'll put. So this is what the guy's talking. Say something interesting.
Me? I'm looking for a man in finance, trust fund, 6'5", blue eyes. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm looking for a man that likes guns. Knows where the clit is.
All right, this is what you're talking about. This is two different data points that I've set on top of each other. Okay, so one is from 1960 all the way to 2010. The first set, of course, is the divorce rate, which is the red there, and then the rise in the usage of hormonal birth control. So pill versus oral contraceptions. You can go and find both of these stats independent of one another, which is very easy to do. And then you can find then all you do is just overlay them. There's an app that will do, like, it'll take the stats and like
Canva, right?
This.
Oh no.
It might be Canva. But anyways, those are basically two data points that I set on top of each other. That's why you're not finding it at like Wall Street Journal or something.
Yeah. Anybody talking shit?
Fake it till you make it. Okay, thank you. Rational Redneck says, can you do a Substack where you list your sources for dating app statistics?
I have them actually.
Probably not
yours.
My sources for dating app statistics usually comes from, well, the dating apps themselves. I mean, the great thing about, like, especially
it's the book Dataclism.
Yeah.
By Christian Broder.
The problem with Dataclism though is it's old data, because that was,
they did another one
2013. If there's another one, I'd like to see it.
Because he wrote two, didn't he?
I like stats like this. These are the swipes for, like, this is a 43-year-old female, all right, on Tinder, right? And then I love how the swipes are like, what, 15,039 times, and then it just basically breaks it all the way down to three instances of casual sex, and like everybody loves this because it sounds like a girl's getting their comeuppance. I get it, but statistically speaking, I don't think people understand that this right here is a modern miracle, because
women always win.
First time in history have we had access to data like that.
But like I try to tell guys, like, women are always gonna win. Stop focusing on if they're gonna get their comeuppance or whatever you call it, because they're probably gonna win. They're probably gonna settle. So what are you gonna do about it? Like, yeah.
Are you going to happen to the world, or is the world going to happen to you?
Can we talk about red pill rage? Can you describe it and how men get stuck in it?
Well, anger is part of 5 stages of unplugging, which are really the 5 stages of grief. But so there's the anger phase, and most guys get trapped in the anger phase. It's what I call crossing the abyss. And guys get trapped in the abyss. 90% of the guys who are in the black pill doomer kind of side of things, it's never going to work. I'm too ugly, blah, whatever it is. They're stuck in the anger phase, and that most likely will never get out. And I hate having to defend this, because people go, oh, those red pill guys are always so angry. They hate women. And it's like, no, they don't hate women.
They're stuck.
Yeah. It's like they're stuck in the anger phase. And you have to get across the abyss to accept the fact that like what you knew before in your blue pill days is not the way that the game is played now. You were playing by a rule set nobody was playing by. Now you know the real rule set, so you have two choices. You can sit there and wallow in your own self-pity and self-loathing, or you can say, oh, now, hey, thank God, Rollo gave me the real book. Now I can actually fucking play the game like it's supposed to be played, and I'm going to be a better player at it than anybody else. And everybody's like, no, the juices are worth the squeeze. Guess what? You're trapped in the abyss.
It is worth the squeeze. The right person is worth it. I know I'm like a miserable bitch and shit, but like good company for the rest of your life, it is worth it. You just have to keep working on yourself and shit.
I'm 56 years old. I am in better shape. I'm in the top. People are going to fight me on this. I'm in the top, at least 4 or 5% of physicality.
It's new 46, baby. Aging is a privilege.
I took this. I don't have it set up. I had this one. I mean, here. This actually, I can just use this. Like, I mean, that right there. Okay.
Get it.
People go. Well, you trying to act like you're 14? I'm like, thank you. Thank you for the compliments. Yeah. Because that's what I'm aiming for.
I love when they say midlife crisis. I love that shit. Like, yeah, baby.
Yeah. The midlife crisis. You bought a sports car. Yeah. Because I can't.
That guy.
Yeah, exactly. We did this. I'll pull it. You'll pull it back. Oh, is that your Greyhound? Is that your Dalmatian?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get going here. I gotta go for another run.
Oh,
working out with the dog.
What time? Let me ask you. Okay, so since you have to, when do you get up? When do you get up in the morning because of the dogs? Do they wake you up in the morning?
Yeah, absolutely. Like 5 a.m.
Do you run? Are you a runner? Do you run with your dogs in the morning? Probably have to in the summertime. That's what.
Yeah, but I have to do them separately. I just can't handle 2 of them at a time. It's too much. They're one stop.
How many miles do you think you run in a day? Do you do it every single morning, every day?
Yeah. Some days I don't run. I'll like speed walk, but I still will like literally my stomach just gets so flat by the time I get home. I have like actual results same day and shit. So it's like really advantageous for a lot of people that don't get results right away. Hearing me say that sounds kind of like I'll never get there, you know? So, I mean, you could still walk. Okay, bro, I'm coming. She's yelling. But yeah, I probably do about like 5 miles.
I do about, because I do 2 miles out, 2 miles back. So I do about 4 miles a day. And I do Greyhound. So I did that with Anna. And she is like, she's a champion racer. They raced her 227 times. And there's a reason why.
She's like a jockey horse.
She is psychotic when it comes to she will spin around and that's her thing. And she just wants to run. And it's a good thing I got run. I guess I'm a runner now too because of it. Yeah. But you're right. Exactly. What I was saying is like, so to be in my condition and to be in my shapes, like I got to go lift. I'm lifting at Powerhouse. Money, muscles, and game. I'm focusing mostly on muscles. And then like I have to take Anna out every single morning. Without fail, I'm doing. Ned's still recovering from his broken leg, but I have to go out every single morning, and it's usually anywhere between like 3 to 4 miles.
Does she yell at you in the morning?
She barks and cries and whines if I don't come down.
Oh, they're always yelling.
And then
horrible.
He gets up with the sunrise. And in this house that I'm living at in Vegas, we don't have like blackout blinds or anything. So 5:30 in the morning is when we go. So
yeah, you have to, or else it gets too hot in their paws.
Yeah, right now it's
a real thing.
But yeah, so you have to go out early and you have to go and do it quick. So like when people go, wow, I can't believe what great shape Rollo's in. It's like, yeah, I got no choice.
Yeah, there's a fucking bitch, dog.
Right. You want to lose weight. You really want to get just trimmed down, get yourself a 3 or 4 year old Greyhound. You will lose weight.
It made me so annoyed though getting into it because I'm like, fuck this dog. They're so annoying.
And you don't get a day off.
Never. Yeah. All right. Well, it was a pleasure, Rollo. We should do this again.
So well.
Okay. Bye, everybody. She's screaming at me. I'm coming.